Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Today we're going to do a quick garden update, show you where we are. We brought in some more wood chips. It's amazing. Last week I planted our cauliflower, and it's amazing with just the wood chips in a couple of weeks how many worms have moved into these wood chips. They're eating the cardboard that we put on the ground to kill anything growing up in the ground, but they're just, the decomposition process, they're all part of it, and they're really adding life to the garden, life to the soil. Worm castings, you could buy those in the store. Those are actually worm poop, which is a good fertilizer. But the worms make trails in the ground. They create air passages so that some of the other stuff in the ground can start to break down stuff and add nutrients to the soil. So quick walk around. We're going to see what's going on. This is my first year with the garden here. So with the tomatoes, I planted several varieties of tomatoes, and the story is yet to be told on that. You tend to plant the right variety for the area that you're in, and right now I'm not sure what that variety is. I could have went to a garden store and asked them what varieties work best, but since I had a lot of seeds, kind of a seed store, I started from what I had, and we'll go from there as far as the future, what's gonna hold. But let's quick and take a look and see what's growing in the garden. All right, you'll see the wood chips here that I've got to spread out yet, and then here we're going to come in with our kale and our Swiss chard, and then I think I'm going to have a row of beets in there. Those are good for you. But here's the I've got a few Brussels sprouts and a few red and green cabbage growing there, and then there's my peppers. I planted a Tabasco pepper, lots of bell peppers, and then there's some Big Jim chilies, they're called. And the peppers are, I gotta tell you, from starting them in the house on heat pads, and I didn't take them out right away, those are probably pretty good looking pepper plants that I've ever had. The tomatoes, so I grew the tomatoes up about I would say they were about 2 feet tall before I put them in the garden, and then I broke the leaves off and I planted them really deep, because all those hairs on a tomato stem, those will turn into roots. So what you do is you double or triple up on your roots by doing that, and you create more uptake for the plant. So it appears like you're planting the Charlie Brown tree to start with, but then once you get into production age, you'll be much better off by having a bigger root system. We'll walk around the side here. Excuse me if the camera's a little shaky. Some of the tomatoes, you can already see, like that little one right there. That one I planted late because the first one died, so I did that. But these couple here, you can see a couple right here, they're struggling to get going. And then you'll see on these right here that I've already got a couple of flowers, setting on there. So what I normally do is, when we start to help the germinate, not the germination, well, to help the germination process, but also to help in production of fruit, is I'll actually go around and I'll flick each pot of flowers, and what that'll do is that'll help germinate the flowers. On tomatoes, each tomato flower has both the male and the female part in it, but sometimes they being so contained so close, they still have issues. So going in there, flicking them, pollinates them, and then you can you'll have much more fruit set by doing that. And then we'll come through here, you'll see I just planted some eggshells in the ground with the tomatoes, but then I just continue to throw it on here. So we put down cardboard, then we put down the wood chips. The cardboard is to kill everything, the grass and stuff that was growing, and then the wood chips, as they break down, start to amend the soil and make it better. So that'll break down and add to the soil. And then with this method of gardening, you don't never ever want to till in the wood chips to the dirt, because that'll rob nitrogen from your soil. So you just keep layering stuff on top, and you don't turn it over. You just keep adding layers. When I plant the beets and the chard and the kale into the ground, and just like the cabbage, you can see I pulled away the wood chips so that they got planted into the ground. You always want to plant in the dirt. Pull the wood chips back, and you can push the wood chips back around it to keep the weeds down. But yeah, this is a very hands-off gardening method. And you'll see here my cucumbers on this side. I've got cucumbers on that side I didn't show you. But here are the cucumbers. I started them in peat pots from seed, and I just threw the peat pots in the ground. But you know, it looks like they're doing well. I just planted them on Thursday. So different shot of here's a different shot of the cabbage and Brussels sprouts growing up there. So I'm going to if you look at this cabbage right there, I don't know if you can see it, but there's holes in the leaves from bugs. I have a plan for that as well. The brassicas, you'll see white butterflies. Everybody calls them butterflies. They're actually moths. These white butterflies fly around, and those are cabbage moths. And the cabbage moths are very destructive to your kale and your cabbage. That's not what got the leaves on that plant right there. It was some other bugs. So I seen a couple cabbage moths out the other day, so I'm gonna hurry up and get the hoops on, and then get the row covers on, and I'll take you through the process. I make my own hoops with a 1/2-inch conduit. I bought a form from Johnny's Seeds, and it doesn't take very long to make the hoops and get the covers on. But the cabbage moths, they'll come in here, lay eggs, and then we'll have cabbage lopers, I think they're called, the little green caterpillars, and they'll eat your whole crop up, and they poop on stuff, you know, and it just looks unsightly. They have so many bug holes in your leaves there. So since I'm growing with as little inputs as possible and organic as possible, I don't want to put anything on there to kill them. If you like the content that I'm giving to you, please subscribe. There will be weekly garden updates, and you know, updates on the mushrooms or whatnot as the week progresses or year progresses. We'll have different things for you to look at. So if you could please hit the subscribe button, like it, share it with your friends, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot for coming.